We hear a lot about drones these days, whether it's used for recreation, like flying a drone and capturing beautiful aerial footage, or maybe to a lesser extent, we hear about military drones for some eyes on the ground, if you will. But what about delivery drones? While it may sound like science fiction, companies are working on drones to bring you products that you order online right to your door in under 30 minutes or less. And then there's commercial drones for deliveries as well. To chat with us about where we're at in 2020, I'm joined on the line by Michael Zahra. He's the CEO of Drone Delivery Canada. Welcome to the show, Michael.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having us.
Before we talk about what's new, talk to us about Drone Delivery Canada. What's the company all about?
Sure. So we are a drone cargo company. So we have 4 different drones in our fleet today, and those drones can carry any kind of cargo, whether it's medical supplies or e-commerce packages or even industrial applications within a mine or even out to an oil rig at sea. So a very, very broad range of applications.
Wow. All right. So we're not talking about delivering a product to a customer's front step from Amazon or Best Buy or whatever. This is for some commercial applications, but very fascinating to me. So a farmer can order some supplies, or oil and gas industry. You can bring in the air products from one place to another without a human pilot. Is that right?
That's right. The drones fly automatically. It's an unmanned system. We monitor the drones from our central command center, which is a very cool, very NASA-like command center. And we can take control of the drones if we need to, if there's any issues in the airspace. But traditionally, it operates automatically, unmanned. And like I said, we can move any kind of cargo. Today, the applications are more business-related, medical-related, First Nations communities that have remote access difficulties, but down the road there'll certainly be consumer applications as well.
Yeah, but very cool. Yeah, no, I can see the appeal here. Now, from when I was reading your press materials, Michael, it said that your drone delivery system was the first of its kind in Canada. So is it that no one has done this prior to Drone Delivery Canada, or it's your technology that's proprietary and a first for the country?
Both, actually. So we are a great Canadian success story, and the system is our intellectual property. We've got patent on the system with more coming, so it is our own. And we were the first to be certified for commercial operations in Canada back in 2017. It was actually, wow. And we actually did the first e-commerce delivery in Canada for a real company to a real end user for a real order. So that was also a couple of years ago.
I was going to ask you where we're at with Transport Canada on drones. So we are talking, as you said, like an autonomous drone. There's no human pilot, but it can take parcels from point A to point B. And so this is fully legal? Is it legal in all provinces? Are there some restrictions?
So we have a flight operations certificate that allows us to operate from coast to coast within Canada. So we are approved by Transport Canada, and we have been approved by them for a few years. So as long as we meet the basic criteria of the rules that Transport Canada puts out and NAV Canada enforces, we can operate anywhere in Canada. So again, a variety of applications, whether they're consumer down the road or they're business to business or industrial or medical.
Today, is it used mostly in rural areas opposed to densely populated urban cities?
Sure. Yeah, good question. The company started off with a focus on really First Nations and Inuit communities because they are very remote communities, and we've slowly started to move to more rural and suburban communities. So today, nobody's really flying, downtown Toronto. But that will come in the future. So yes, it's predominantly focused on either remote communities or really, really rural and suburban areas.
Yeah, that's fascinating. Because it's autonomous, do these drones fly around obstacles like trees or flocks of birds, telephone poles, that kind of thing?
Sure. Again, another good question. Just for everybody to understand how the system works, we typically will map out a route ahead of time, and we fly from a pre-established point of origin to a pre-established destination. So it could be from a warehouse to a retail store. It could be hospital, It could be from shore out to an oil rig at sea. So we already know what the route is going to look like ahead of time. And we typically fly from 200 to 400 feet above ground so that we are avoiding any kind of cell towers, transmission lines, trees, and that sort of thing. We also have a sense and avoid system, you could call it, that allows us to see other airplanes, other drones, big birds, and that sort of thing, so we can make sure we're flying safely in any kind of active airspace.
We're joined by Michael Zahra, CEO of Drone Delivery Canada. We're talking about commercial drones using an autonomous unmanned vehicle, or UAV, unmanned aerial vehicle, to deliver products from one point to another in the friendly skies. And what impressed me, Michael, was the spring of last year, I attended an event down at the Toronto Stock Exchange in downtown Toronto, and you unveiled one of your newest drones. I think it was called the Condor, if I'm not mistaken. But I was surprised about how big this drone was. What's the sort of weight load or restrictions with some of these drones?
So we've got 4 in the fleet today. You're right, the Condor is the largest. There will be larger coming out in the future. But the Condor can carry up to 180 kilograms of cargo, so about 400 pounds. And it can fly a range of about 200 kilometers at 120 kilometers an hour. So it looks like a small helicopter, so it's a fairly large drone. And then on the smallest end of our range, we have the Sparrow, which is 4.5 kilograms, so about 10 pounds of payload and about 30-kilometer range.
Okay, interesting. So I don't want to get too geeky, but those who like to fly drones recreationally, like the companies like DJI and so on, it's usually what we call as a quadcopter, right? Those are the 4 propellers that help it levitate and then fly off.
Right.
But with some of your larger drones, or all of them, it's kind of like a helicopter. It's just there's no pilot.
Well, the Condor actually looks like a small helicopter,
Yeah.
And it's gasoline-powered as well. But when you get into the smaller drones like the Sparrow or the Robin, they are electric drones, and they've got 8 rotors, so 4 arms with 2 motors and 2 rotors on each arm. We've also got one called the Falcon, which has 12 motors and 12 rotors. So they start to get fairly large, and they're certainly much, much, much larger than a consumer drone.
Mm-hmm. Very cool. Now, I know the company is called Drone Delivery Canada, but there are other applications for drones. You were talking about some of the rural communities or indigenous communities. I know that they have been used in the past. Drones have been used for search and rescue missions, where someone's been missing, maybe in a mountain, perhaps in Alberta or in BC, and they're trying to locate a missing skier. They've been drones used for things like that. Is that not in your wheelhouse? Is it just to transport goods from one place to another?
Well, our specialty is in transporting cargo. We don't really care necessarily what the cargo is. The cargo could be emergency relief. So if there's somebody stranded or somebody in the water or in the mountains, we could certainly drop off medical supplies, a thermal blanket, a defibrillator, medicine. We could certainly do that. But we can also carry sensors and cameras for agriculture, mining, and oil and gas. So we don't necessarily care what the cargo is. We just move a payload.
Michael, are you publicly traded as Drone Delivery Canada on the exchange? And if so, why do you think it's a good investment?
So we are publicly traded in Canada on the TSXV under the ticker symbol FlightFLT. And we are, I would say, the leader in the drone logistics industry globally. We don't really have a viable competitor. We're partnered with Air Canada as our commercial partner, and together we're actively signing customers. And this is really an industry that's going to take off, so to say.
Pardon the pun.
And it's really, it's really an opportunity to get in on an industry that's growing exponentially at the ground floor. So.
Yeah, very interesting. Now, just last question for those who are listening who may run a company that could use your services. How would they get in touch with you? Is there a website you'd recommend, Michael, for Drone Delivery Canada, or is there another way that they should reach you to inquire about your services?
Sure. It's easy. We are dronedeliverycanada.com. So you can go there. There's information and some really cool videos and photos about our system in operation. You can also sign up for our newsletter and get regular updates on all the cool things that we're doing.
All right, dronedeliverycanada.com, and even interested just consumers, even though you're not delivering to residences yet, definitely you should check out those videos because it's pretty wild. As I said off the top, it sounds like science fiction, but it's here, and you guys are doing some great stuff. So thank you so much for carving out some time to chat with us, Michael, and I wish you much luck and success with Drone Delivery Canada. Thanks again.
Thank you, Marc.